Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. We all know that the Chinese government likes brainwashing the Chinese people, saying that the Western countries are all enemies and that they're supposed to be boycotted and beaten down.
如果中国有朝一日变了颜色，变成一个超级大国，也在世界上称王称霸，到处欺负人家、侵略人家、剥削人家，那么世界人民就应当给中国戴上一顶社会帝国主义的帽子，就应当揭露它、反对它，并且从中国人民一刀打倒它。
Chinese government is working for us so well. Why do all those Western countries oppose it? Well, the little pinkies should probably know why is the Chinese government hated around the world. They shouldn't simply do whatever the state asks them to do, right? Or should they? On September 28th, the Pew Research Center published a global survey on the views of China. It's a routine report observing how do the people all around the world perceive China. This year's report is actually very crucial, and it can be called Xinnie the Flu's World Disapproval Ranking. You might all ask, this research is looking into how the world perceives China. Why did I just say Xi Jinping's disapproval ranking? Most of you won't probably be surprised. It's only the little pinkies that will find it fascinating that most of the countries don't like the CCP's leadership. But let's still take a look into the report.
那咱们老百姓怎么办？听谁呢？听国家的呀！国家说什么，咱们就信什么。
The observation report is divided into several sections, including views of Xi Jinping, China's political influence, China's army, human rights violations, economic influence, coronavirus pandemic, and perceptions of the people. The content of the above topics let us all see how dangerous and unfavorable China under Xi Jinping has become.
亲自指挥，亲自部署。
Basically, the overall dissatisfaction of various countries towards China is only getting worse and worse. It can even be found in the report that Xi Jinping's dissatisfaction level surpasses Putin by 25 percentage points. Let's take a look at China's neighbors. 80% of South Koreans are unhappy with Xi, 87% of the Japanese people are unhappy with him, and 86% of Australians also don't like him. The United States and Sweden also have more than 80% of unfavorable views. Even Canada, where there are many Chinese immigrants, a country where Hu Xijing, who is one of the most well-known CCP propagandists, his children are living and earning money there. The negative views over China in Canada reached 74%. This is actually very funny, as many of the propagandists that are constantly scolding the West have their families in the US and Canada. The report mentioned that since Obama's second term, when Xi Jinping came into power, the world's unfavorable views towards China have continued to go up along with the CCP's crazy policies. If these countries didn't disapprove China as much before, they're on their way to have negative views over it now. Their perception of China has probably been influenced by Xinjiang concentration camps, oppressing Hong Kong and making it lose all the freedoms that have been left, the global pandemic of the CCP virus, the militarization of islands and reefs in the South China Sea, and the Chinese maritime militia harassing Japan's Senkaku Islands, things like that. Even South Korea, a country that used to have very favorable views of China, has its views down after China started opposing the THAAD missile defense system and tried to punish Korea by limiting the tourism and boycotting K-pop. While Huawei princess Meng Wanzhou was arrested in Canada, China took Canadian innocent citizens as hostages. Sweden's attitudes towards China have been affected by the kidnapping of Gui Minghai, who is a citizen of Sweden, and he's a bookseller from the Causeway Bay bookstore. He was forcefully brought to China for trial, where of course he didn't get any fair trial. This fact actually also brought Sweden's unfavorable views of China to a new height. We also had Huawei spy scandals here in Poland. A lot of confidential information of the Ministry of National Security has been stolen. Not to mention the intimidation and harassment of Lithuanian and Czech parliamentarians. Talking about the US, they've been aware of China's aggressive behavior for a while, just didn't take any substantial steps yet. Look how China has been attacking the US. From the 1,000 Talents plan to steal high-tech, to the Chinese official media's called in former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is scumbag and calling him a shitstick, to intimidating the current Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi during her visit to Taiwan, launching military drills to provoke the United States in the Taiwan Strait. These are all great achievements under the leadership of Xinnie the Flu.
大国要有大国的样子。
There is also the ongoing Russian aggression against Ukraine. The pro-Russian remarks of the CCP supporters have actually been translated by the Great Translation Movement. Now the whole world can see clearly what the true face of the pinkies is. Most of the Chinese people also despise those CCP supporters that are no different from Mao's Red Guards. So you have a brainwashed obedient mass of supporters and an uneducated warmongering chairman. That's like a perfect match. Hope that it will only lead to faster collapse of the CCP. The rest of the Chinese population is either lying flat right now or choosing to immigrate. There is also another interesting point in this report. They found that people in economically developed countries begin to think that human rights were more important than economic losses. And at the same time, they started to believe that China's economic model was harmful to their own countries. Even some people in these countries think that China is a bigger economy than the United States, the economy #1 of the world, but they still feel that they would rather maintain more economic cooperation with the US. This indicator is also a warning for the Taiwanese businessmen. After all, the perception of China is at its lowest right now, which means that the products made by the Taiwanese businessmen in China will gradually lose their attractiveness in the other countries. Moreover, due to Xinnie the Flu's great policy of destroying the Chinese nation, many foreign companies have fled. Chinese people are facing a large wave of unemployment, decline in consumption power, and the collapse of real estate sector. The vicious cycle in the economy will also lead to an increasingly unstable investment environment. I believe we will soon be able to see China returning to the planned economy and policies of closing the country. Really fascinating times we live in. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please press like, subscribe, and share. This is Dan. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.